everyone, Stephanie Buckland here. I'm bringing you Julia Vitality. This is so exciting for our Connecting to Healing interview. She's one of my favorite people on the planet. So, welcome.
Thank you, Stephanie. I know when we first connected, our energies just blended and we had this incredible connection. So I'm super happy to be a part of your summit and your show.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for joining me. So I would love to take our listeners down memory lane and talk about your healing journey.
Yeah, absolutely. So back to my childhood, I grew up in a family that was somewhat dysfunctional at the time. I knew was a little dysfunctional. My dad is an alcoholic. And just recently I found out he's a narcissist. I didn't know what that meant, but it actually answered a lot of questions. So because he set a pattern for my relationships with the male end of the world, I got into a few relationships that had the same pattern and further, put me in a situation where I felt more like a victim and kind of displayed the same patterns as my dad taught me to mirror. So then I did a little bit of healing. I went into a little bit of self-discovery actually after my first divorce. And I felt like, hey, now I know why, what, and how. And I found myself a man that was a completely different kind, calm, loving. And I had my second marriage. I had a couple of kids. And then COVID hit. And within the 2 years, my father tried to kill my husband. We both got depressed, moved to another country. Our marriage was going in the dumps. He ended up being unfaithful. I kicked him out. Then for the sake of the children, I took him back. And then for the sake of myself, I made a decision that I am better off the way I am, being appreciated and loved for who I am by me. And anybody who doesn't see that or who doesn't appreciate me or cannot give me simple human empathy and compassion doesn't belong in my inner circle. So I basically closed my circle to the people that don't belong, and many other people, including him, and just literally put them outside. I don't have any anger or bitterness, but I put them outside. And the reason why I made that decision was because my healing journey started actually prior to him committing infidelity. I started really dabbling into law of attraction and creating my future. And I believe his infidelity was the answer from the universe to free up the space for the mate of my dreams. So I know he's already on his way. Just like all the other stuff that's going to happen in my life, it's already been happening. Lots of synchronicities, beautiful people entering my life like Stephanie and others who share my vision. I work with coaches, people who are selfless and giving, who want to spread their knowledge and love to others. And it uplifts me from every conversation in my work. I am lifted up. So that's a short summary of my healing journey.
Awesome. So that sounds like that's what brought you into this beautiful podcasting business and doing these virtual summits, all these wonderful things you're doing, sharing with the world.
Mm-hmm. So one of the things that I do, I really like to feature individuals who need to be heard. So I share stories from coaches, experts, people who have gone through their own trauma, and I try to include as many lessons from those stories as possible for people to either see themselves in those stories and maybe pick up a tip or two, or just get courage to make changes in their own lives. I do a lot of personal development, and I try to share what I know or what I learn on my Instagram, on my social media. I try to encourage people. If I find a positive quote or something that made me think twice, and I post it out there, because I think people really honestly need to pause, break in their busy day, whatever they're doing, and reflect on something, whatever it is, whether it's just a moment of silence or something profound, just to take that break and reflect, because that really brings us back to reality, because we're so wrapped up in what's going on around us.
Yeah, no kidding. I actually do the exact same thing. I have a weekly post, inspiration for the week. I love you, human, namaste. And I do that every single Friday, because I find so many inspirational posts. I just want to share them with the world. And I've actually been doing that since 2008. So
Oh,
it's a huge
wonderful.
album called Oneness Consciousness on Facebook.
Awesome. Yeah, I didn't know that. That's beautiful. I'm gonna subscribe myself to that.
Awesome. Yeah, actually, I can add you as a contributor to that if you want.
Absolutely. Would love that.
Yeah, so what is your professional background? Did you acquire any higher education, any like degrees or anything before you decided to pursue being in business for yourself?
Yeah, so actually my childhood dream was to be a fashion designer, which my parents told me is a completely dead field and you won't make it anywhere. So they put me in math and science and I became a computer developer. Hated it. So as soon as an opportunity came to kind of stray away from that, I went into a little bit more on the business side of things. And I learned a lot of skills through my 9 to 5 career related to, being in front of the camera, being in front of people, speaking, facilitating, and organizing events and things like that, lots of meetings, lots of project management. So I do thank my 9 to 5 career for a lot of the skills and education, for a lot of the skills that it's given me. But I always felt forced to do that work and I never felt any kind of accomplishment, even if I, went ahead and did everything ahead of the deadlines. And even if I got praise from my boss, I never felt like I was making any impact. I felt like it didn't matter. I felt disappointed in myself and I felt like something was missing. And I had this period of fog probably around a year ago where every day I would get up and I would log in, and it's during COVID times, and I would have to smile through my video calls and everything. And I would like know inside of me, this is not what I'm called to do. This is not, I don't know what it is, but this is not. And I was already starting to network with coaches, and one of them, my friend, she told me, she's like, Julia, embrace this period of confusion and fog. Out of this, great things will be born. It made me feel so good because I felt guilty for feeling that fog and confusion because I'm a kind of person that needs to know what, and everything's placed, but I felt out of place. So she said, don't worry, embrace it. I found my courage to embrace it, and I stayed in it for weeks, I think, maybe 2 months. And I was reading more, I was doing more personal development, and I found this one assessment of values. So when I did that, I kind of crystallized it a little bit. I realized that what I was doing was completely misaligned with my values. It had nothing to do with anything I enjoyed in life. And the only reason why I was in it was it's what I knew. It's what my parents expected of me. I was living by somebody's expectations. And that's the only thing we were taught being young is you have to have a career and climb corporate ladder. And of course, fear of losing income and change and not knowing what really to do or how to get started. Like I sort of had an idea that I wanted to be in business, but I didn't really know what and how business is done these days online. So it was a moment where I had to learn how to trust the universe. And I strongly suggest that anybody who's ever stuck at any point that you sit back and you do that. And I just met another beautiful individual that is very aligned with what I'm doing, but she's on the other side of the planet in Australia. And she does women's circles where women share their stories and connect. And she said every morning she writes down her to-do list. On one side of the page, she writes down what she needs to do. And on the other side, she writes down what she delegates to the universe. And I love that.
That's great.
I told her, thank you so much. If anything comes out of our collaboration, this will be your gift to me. So I'm going to do that now. This is going to be my to-do list, 2 sides.
Awesome. That's a cool technique. I like it. I just might adopt that myself.
Yeah, totally. I'm sharing that with everybody. That's my little gift to you guys.
Wonderful.
Well, I'm not the author of it, but that's what I do. I'm not an author of a lot of the things I do in my business, but I love to scream the message from the people who have the message worth screaming about.
So what made you decide to start your business? I mean, when did you actually make that conscious decision?
So it was during that period of fog, I decided that I'm definitely leaving the 9 to 5 world, or at least phasing it out of it gradually. It was a bit more than it was pretty quick actually, but those of us that want to start something on the side, gradual is okay as well. And what I was doing is I was really looking at those values that I had assessed. And number one for me was my personal development, personal growth. And number two was contribution or positive impact. And I'm like, okay, well, how can I combine those two things? And I was extremely camera shy. Other than being at work meetings and doing the things I had to do, I never liked taking selfies. I wasn't about posting myself on video or even on pictures. And there was this moment that I was ready to be on camera. And the reason for that was it wasn't about me. I was interviewing people whose story I wanted to get public. And it wasn't about me. I wasn't the feature and the star of the show. It was the person that I was presenting. So I overcame that self-conscious fear of being on camera because it was no longer about me. And I think that's the key really for a lot of us, unless, you know, you're a movie star or model or whatever. But in my work, I'm not the star of the show. I feature people who are worthy of being featured. And that's why I'm motivated to do my work on video or magazine or any kind of public work, because I want to share their stories.
That is powerful. So what products and services do you offer specifically in your business now?
Yes, so it seems to be shaping in toward public relations. So I seem to provide a lot of publicity and visibility for people who I work with. But my personal motivation is to get people together, get them networking. I love to get to know my coaches. I like to interview them and get as much wisdom from them as possible and put it out there on my YouTube or podcast. I call it video or visual podcast. And I launched a magazine called Self Mastery. So that's just another aspect, is for those of us who are more readers than watchers, for example, who like to actually sit with something in their hands, whether it's their tablet or, you know, they can probably print a PDF of the magazine on their own because it's global. We're not going to be shipping paper editions, but it is a digital edition. And read those inspiring stories from individuals who have, you know, conquered trauma, abuse, disability, a lot of changes in their life, a lot of things that many of us face at some point in time. So I guess that's one of my services, is I offer individuals who have a story to tell to approach me and let me get it out there for you. Another service I offer is for people who would like to take a stab at helping our team with the back end of things. So I have a wonderful editing team for the magazine, very gifted individuals in social media, in graphic design, and copywriting. And they're doing this out of love of this work. They're literally inspired doing it because of the stories they're editing. One of them said, oh, I had to read the stories. And then she's like, and that was my breakthrough. She's like, I am motivated to do more and more of them because every single story lights up her fire. So it's really important to have the team who's on the same page. So everybody who I put around me in my team, an extended team, are people who share my vision and who want to contribute as well. And obviously we give them all kinds of opportunities to showcase themselves as well. There's going to be books coming, there's going to be TEDx events coming, there's going to be speaking opportunities. And the highlight of this year is going to be a retreat in December. And it's going to be to celebrate overachievers. So a lot of us entrepreneurs or female leaders, executives, we work. We praise others. We uplift our team. We're constantly building other people up. Even if you're a coach, all you're doing all day long is blowing sunshine up somebody else's dress. Well, the retreat is going to be the opposite. It's going to be to celebrate you. We're going to take amazing photos of you. We're going to feature you in our magazine. You're going to be the glam star. So that is coming together. So if you're interested to participate in any way, shape, or form, I'm actually thinking of having maybe a small volunteer team to come on board and fly here to Mayan Riviera and help me set it up right here. So anybody who's interested in participating in any way, shape, or form is welcome. Any collaborators for the magazine, we have a lot of ad space for businesses who align with our vision. And there's probably more, but that's just a little bit that I'm going to share.
Awesome. And so you officially started during the pandemic, it sounds like.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And I think the pandemic really opened a lot of doors because a lot of people went global. I wanted to be a digital nomad just before pandemic hit, and it was almost like my dream came true. I started a job in January that year, was it 2020? And they had a work from home policy. After 3 months, you could take like 1 day a week. And like second month, not even a month for me being on the job, the pandemic hits and they sent us home. And I'm like, hey, I'm working from home. And all this time I'm sitting at home with International Living magazine and I'm dreaming about my next destination where I'm gonna go. And I'm reading about all these beautiful countries. And there we go. So yes, COVID sucked. It brought a lot of, sad events, let's just put it this way. And a lot of loss, but I think it also prompted a lot of people to start looking deep inside of themselves and reach out for tools that are available for them, like various coaching, books, self-help, self-development things, and even inspirational channels like yours to follow and just stay inspired and educated and find different ways of healing.
Most definitely. So how has your business shifted in the last couple of years? Well, since you started during the pandemic, but how have you kind of navigated through all of the different changes that have happened?
Yeah, so I've actually organized a lot of events in person before the pandemic. So I would always host some sort of networking events and get people to meet each other, and just I love attending networking events as well. So now it all migrated obviously to Zoom. Thanks to Zoom, I used to hate the word. I used to like when people say, oh, let's jump on it. It was before the pandemic. I remember this one lady I met on an in-person event. She's like, oh, let's just jump on a Zoom call. I'm like, no, I'm not jumping in a Zoom call. No, it's just such a part of the lingo, right? So it's definitely a good thing. And I'm not promoting Zoom in any way. There's other video calling tools. And even, something on your phone, like a video call on your phone, is amazing that we have that technology now. And I think all of the technology advances that happened in the last 2 years to empower people to do their work from home and to connect globally, I think that is amazing. You don't even have to jump on a plane anymore. Well, sometimes you can't, but if you can, you don't have to, waste your time in the airport for a day each way to get somewhere, to a conference or summit like yours. Like you can literally just, attend the sessions that fit with your schedule and enjoy as much as you can and get all the benefits of all the digital materials that come with this, right? So many people transform their books and other trainings into a digital format. And that's why it's so beautiful that we can do so much. We're so empowered. The amount of information is incredible. It's just a matter of finding out what you want to read and filter through garbage. But if you connect with the right people and you connect on the energetic level, you feel the right type of connection, you can trust them, then, that just makes it so beautiful.
It really does. So then what is it like to be in business and to work with you?
So I am a very much relationship-oriented person. Actually, I had an interesting experience yesterday. Somebody contacted me by direct message. And he says, introduces something about like a piquing my interest thing. And I'm like, okay, just tell me what it is. And he's like, well, it's not how it works. We need to jump on the call, and it's about network marketing, getting to know each other. So I said, oh, okay, well, interesting. I said, okay, well, I have coffee chats in my group every week. So you're more than welcome to jump on. And he's like, oh, I don't have time for coffee chats. I said, well, isn't that interesting? You're pitching to me that we need to have an in-person call to develop a relationship between us, whereas I don't know you at all, and I don't necessarily have a level of trust with you. You just message me, yet you're telling me you don't have time to invest in connecting with people, not just myself, other people who could potentially be your business partners as an outcome. So I believe relationships come first. That's basically the point of the story. I believe that people need to invest time in establishing connections, building trust, if you like the person or not, and it's okay not to like some people. I have made, I'd say 98% of my connections I have a really good feeling about, and we kind of jive. But there's been those 2% that I jump on the call and then right away I sense a different kind of vibe. It's either something selfish, they're trying to get out of the call, or they're just very closed in, or whatever it might be. It's just not an energetic match. So I used to feel bad. I used to feel like, oh, maybe there's something wrong with me. Maybe I said something wrong. It's something wrong with my business. But I learned to just let it go. There's always going to be people that are not going to have that match with you. So I guess that's the point of what I'm trying to say, is that with me, it's based on relationships, on maintaining relationships as well. I believe that it doesn't have to be every day, but people who have a strong connection, they can reconnect months after they first met and they still have something to talk about. But it's nice to keep in touch as well. So I try to send my friends and colleagues a message here and there. I think it's worth the effort to maintain relationships. I try to support their businesses. And I believe in mutual collaborations. Stephanie came to my summit. I'm coming to her summit. So I think it's really cool that we're, learning about each other's audiences. We can benefit each other's audiences. And this is really the way of doing business in 2022. And I'm looking forward to learning what it's going to be in 2023. Maybe there's going to be holograms or something.
That would be amazing. I could come to right where you are as a hologram and say, hi, Julia.
Well, I don't know what Facebook is working on, right? Their virtual reality world. We don't know. We don't know how it's going to be revealed in the metaverse. There could be a completely different element that we're completely not prepared for, but then it's going to be a new norm maybe 5 years from now.
Yeah, exactly. I've been telling people, where is my flying car? They said we'd have it by 2020. So my inspiration dashed because there are no flying cars. not really. But so I'm hearing a lot of the framework and the pillars that you work by, just from starting with relationship orientation. So are there other pillars that you work on, that you live from or build your business from?
Yeah, I'd say it's also something I utilize personally. It was one of my earliest interviews in my podcast with a male coach who said, change is the only constant in this life. And when you internalize that as a new norm, then you're not going to struggle and fight it. You're just going to see ways of making the best from it or of it. And it really, really helped me. And I use that in everything, even in relationships, because some people fall off the books and you wonder what happened. Did I do something? Should I reach out or whatever? But I just look at it as, that's part of the change. Some people come into your life for a season, it's not for a reason, but embrace whatever comes your way, and also relaxing in the moment and allowing the universe to pick up the slack. That's another pillar. And I really help people realize it. I'm also a law of attraction coach, but I don't do one-on-one coaching. What I do is it sips through all my work. So when I encourage people, when I work with my team, like today I was on a networking call, and one lady said that her and her husband are highly susceptible to COVID. And I said, darling, you have to rephrase that. Just try it, even if it doesn't sound right. Say to yourself every night before bed, me and my husband are highly immune to COVID. We're highly immune to COVID, and COVID does not affect us. Say it for 21 days. Your biology changes based on your beliefs. So I strongly recommend people to really investigate what they're thinking, how they're thinking of themselves, of their work, of people around them, of their life, of their future, how much they're thinking about their past. Stop. It's gone. Okay? And I know the phrase "be in the moment" is a little bit overused and kind of vague. And I'm trying to learn fully what that means to me. But I think what it really means is, I was just at the Joe Dispenza retreat, and he made a really cool picture of what that means. So he drew the current moment as a ball in the middle. And then he drew lines on each side. So one is to the past. So in the moment when we try to meditate, when we try to stop and, stop our thoughts. Oh, what happened yesterday? Oh, my ex. Oh, what did my boss tell me? Oh, my mother, 10 years ago, she did this to me. Now, our mind goes into the past, okay? On the other hand, okay, we're not thinking about the past anymore. Oh, it's garbage day tomorrow. Oh, I gotta pick up my kids at 5. And goes on and on and on. So he's like, stop. You can take care of it when you're done your meditation, okay? just stop and think of now. Now, this moment is all you have. And that's when you connect to the divine. That's when you relax into the unknown. That's when the fear of the unknown diminishes. And that's when you create the opportunities and synchronicities. So again, even though I don't do one-on-one law of attraction coaching, I weave it into all of my work and all of my interactions and all of the publications and shows that I produce. And I strongly encourage people to look into it and, listen to affirmations, reprogram yourself as much as possible. If you know you have a flaw, if you know if you are a negative kind of person, reprogram yourself into the positive. If you know you're fearful, reprogram yourself into being courageous. At first, it's going to feel uncomfortable, but if those beliefs are not serving you anymore, create new beliefs.
Awesome. I think that's a perfect place to end this. So how can people get in touch with you?
Yeah, absolutely. So we are launching a magazine, and the website for the magazine is selfmasterymagazine.com. And the email for that is info@selfmasterymagazine.com. And all of my social media and other links are on Linktree, which is linktr.ee/PITV. So Positive Impact TV. That's also the name of my channel. So Linktree/PITV. And you can find me on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and other social media. And I look forward to hearing from you. And if anybody would like to submit an article for a magazine or be featured in our show or have any other collaborations, I welcome people who align with my vision, my mission of spreading personal development all over the world. Just to add a little motivation as to why I am in this line of work. So I always imagine a very lonely, sad individual sitting in front of their screen, thinking something very negative. I wouldn't say suicidal thoughts, but something like very deeply in a dark place, and coming across one of my interviews that are going to change their life and allow them to see themselves as a person with many possibilities. So whether it's one of my episodes or yours or anybody else that I'm working with, I have that innate desire to help that person that I don't even know. And I'm never going to know how I impacted their lives, but that's the hope. That's the dream.
That's beautiful. Well, thank you, Julia. I think this has been a wonderful conversation. I can't wait to share it with the world.
Thank you so much, Stephanie. And I'm looking forward to the rest of the program on the summit. And I'm personally adding it to my calendar as we speak.
Excellent. Okay.